Guess what, golfers? Vegas isn't just casinos and pool parties. In fact, there are 50 golf courses within a 15-mile radius of the Strip, all boasting beautiful desert oasis landscapes. So, if you're looking for a break from the action, consider hitting the links. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
No one is going to pick Indiana. No one's going to pick Indiana to make it close, honestly. Like, you could get tremendous odds if you pick OKC in 7.
I think that taking the series over 5.5 games, the last 2 NBA Finals series ended in 5. I think this one goes 6. I think the Thunder will get the job done, but I think the Pacers are just too strong of a team and too talented of a team and too deep of a team to lose in 5 or fewer games.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
We welcome you to hour number 2, bright and early here on this Wednesday morning on the Early Line on SportsGrid. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens. Finally, DRS, in this second hour, we can proudly say game number 3 of the 2025 NBA Finals is, in fact, tonight. The NBA Finals returns to our live after 2 full days off from the NBA's championship set, and we change venue for the first time in this series. Tonight in downtown Indy, it's game number 3 between the Pacers and the Thunder. An early look at where the NBA Finals stands in a series tied at a game all, and what we can all expect for game number 3 tonight inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Later on in this second hour, the coach, J.Y. James Young, will give you his scouting report for game number 3 in the remainder of the NBA Finals as well. In between, some more football on this Wednesday. After mandatory minicamp now underway around the NFL, we'll talk some quarterback battles that should heat up throughout the summer, either based on injury or a very jumbled quarterback room. Looking at you, the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, exactly. Got a lot of topics to get through here as we are creeping closer and closer to football season. We see the OTAs out there where the superstars are back in camp, unless they're trying to hold out for more money, setting the stage here for July, which is football season. They'll be underway, and then it's July, August, September, October, November, December, January, and February. What a great stretch we have to look forward to, but there's still a lot of great baseball. Heat, humidity leaking into some of these ballparks. We're going to determine some of these pitchers who aren't very good today and which pitchers they are to pick on.
We've got another full Wednesday slate around MLB from the brilliant baseball mind of DRS. We'll break that down in our third and final hour. But, Donnie, we begin with an early look at game number 3 of the 2025 NBA Finals. Tonight, inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse, it will be the first NBA Finals game in Indy for the Pacers in 2.5 decades. They stole game number 1 on the road. That dramatic comeback, down by 9 points with 2 minutes and 39 seconds remaining in regulation, and Tyrese Halliburton playing the hero once again. But then we ask the question, what would Oklahoma City do for a response in game number 2? A decisive wire-to-wire win, winning by 16 points. Has it changed the tenor of this series? The odds makers certainly believe so, because entering game 1, DRS, Oklahoma City was such a strong favorite. The question was not who is going to win the NBA championship. But how long might it take, and how tightly contested could this series actually be? Oklahoma City was a minus 700 favorite entering the opening game last Thursday of the NBA Finals. They lose game number one, coughing up a 15-point advantage. In the fourth quarter, the line starts to move. Minus 330 entering game number two. Well, after OKC equalizes, what is the number now entering game number three? Minus 650 outright for the Thunder to hoist that Larry O'Brien trophy. Again, we are tied at a game apiece. Oklahoma City is not up 2-0, taking advantage of starting this series in the opening two games on its home floor. And yet DRS in the past 48 hours, what was a minus 500 price after the Thunder won game number two is now minus 650 entering game three on this game day Wednesday.
It should be that way because I don't think we're looking at that price point and saying like, I don't want to bet it. Well, I mean, it's high at minus 650, but we keep telling you here on the early line, the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to win this series. So I guess price point at this point, juice doesn't matter. Well, it does matter because how much you will lay out was plus 650, and we continuously told you the Thunder are going to win the series. A couple dollars down is a great lottery ticket on the back end. Laying $650 to win $100 isn't that lottery ticket. And yes, some things can go wrong, but I still don't think outside of devastating injuries, the Pacers are going to win the series. And that's not to say that we can't get an extension of the series and maybe a better price down the line. Like, hey, I think the Thunder win this series, but you know what? Would love to see the Thunder lose game number three, and that price drop like a rock in half because then the Pacers would have home court advantage and the series lead in their back pocket. And who says they can't win game number four to make that lead even more insurmountable for OKC? But just looking at the price points right now before we even head in to game number three, it should be minus 650 for OKC. They're the better team. They're favored in every single game so far. The first two games by double digits. This game's sitting at 5. We'll see where it gets by game time. They're supposed to be in command in the driver's seat, even though it's still 1-1 as we head back, and home court advantage again is still in the Pacers' court.
In DRS, as we have kind of laid out, again, a small disparity, but just ever so slightly in terms of what the numbers are telling us and how the odds makers expect the remainder of this NBA Finals to play out. The Thunder laying a game and a half in the series spread now has the hefty chalk at minus 170. Again, for OKC to cash that ticket, they have to win the NBA championship in at most 6 games. But even doing that in 6 at minus 170 would be a little bit different than what we expect for the overall duration of this championship set. 5 games, OKC to rattle off 4 consecutive wins is plus 152. Now, Indiana can also win the NBA championship in a gentleman's sweep fashion as well, but OKC to do so in that gentleman's sweep is plus 172. It is the most likely outcome by a large difference, DRS, in terms of how short that price is. Every price on the Thunder to win the NBA championship in 5, 6, or 7 games, 3-1 or shorter. The shortest and most likely option for Indiana is the Pacers in 6 on their home floor in Indy at plus 1040. So entering this series, Donnie, we debated, all right, the Thunder more than likely going to be crowned an NBA champ, but how competitive could Indiana be? And we both hoped for 6 games. Well, we're tied at a game apiece entering game 3 with a change of destination tonight. How do you feel about the NBA Finals and how many games we see now?
Yeah, still 6 for me. It's going to be 6. 5 and said, okay, maybe they could get that one game on their home court. They're going to get one of these games over the next 2, and the key is determining which game is it, because I would love to see the Pacers get game number 3, because I just think from a public perspective, we would enjoy that much more than OKC getting game 3. Even if the Pacers got game number 4 and it was still a best of 3, just the optics of the series would really shift on a dime if you saw the Pacers come away with a victory tonight as 5-point underdogs. But for me now, I always thought that the Pacers would get one game in their own building. Wasn't sure if they'd steal one game in OKC's building, which meant we'd probably go 5. Since they stole a game in OKC, they're going to win a game in Indiana for me. So there will be a game number 6. I think it ends in 6, and I do think it's OKC in 6, clinching on the Pacers' home court now.
And right now, that price is plus 265 for the Thunder to make good on that thought. But in terms of Indiana winning a game on its home floor, DRS. We might think that's going to be the case. The odds makers will not expect it. The Thunder, a 5-point favorite tonight, and a total of 228.5. Your early thoughts for game number 3 inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse?
I don't want to spoil this too, because we'll talk about it a little bit later, but I have a way that I'm attacking this game here, not from a full game perspective. Also some prop bets that I like as well. So from a side perspective for the game, I do see it's a coin flip here with that 5-point number. Do I think the Thunder win this game? Yes, I do, because they're favored and they're the better team. But the way I'm attacking this is an indicator, Ben, of what we saw in game 1 and game number 2. And I think there's a chance it also plays out in game number 3. So I'll tease it like that. How about that?
Ooh, a pro's pro, DRS. Have the people stick around. Tyrese Halliburton has the highest points prop for Indiana tonight. It is 17.5 as we look at those superstars. Pascal Siakam actually might be a little bit higher than that, but comparing the point guards in this spot, and Rick Carlisle even said it after game number 2, you basically just put in SGA for 34 points. He has scored at least 34 in each of the first 2 games of the NBA Finals. NFL quarterback battle next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Quarterback competition can be fun. Quarterback battles, though, when the options aren't necessarily the most optimistic looking on paper. Not great for NFL franchises at this time of year, early in the offseason. DRS, of course, the big news yesterday or throughout last week in Indianapolis for the Colts entering mandatory minicamp this week. Head coach Shane Steichen entering his 3rd year, telling everybody that Anthony Richardson would not throw at minicamp, dealing with a shoulder issue, and they were hopeful he would be back and ready to go for training camp in late July. Shane Steichen telling reporters yesterday that AR visited Dr. Neil Elatrosh, who, of course, if you follow sports medicine, you know that name, in Los Angeles, to get a second opinion on his shoulder. Steichen says nothing had changed, and the plan is just to rest his shoulder for now. There's no official timetable on a return. So as we talk quarterback battles, a big update to the Week 1 starting quarterback odds, courtesy of our friends at the Canadian FanDuel Sportsbook. As of this time last week, Anthony Richardson was greater than a -250 favorite to be that Week 1 starter, with a ton to prove entering his third NFL campaign, but with some questions and an uncertain timetable around a shoulder injury that, of course, caused him to play only 4 games in his rookie season 2 years ago. That has completely shifted. Daniel Jones, signed earlier this offseason, is now that minus money, odds-on favorite to be the Colts starting quarterback Week 1 at -166.
Yeah, I think it looks like they're giving up on Anthony Richardson at this point. I do, because now you're seeing, like, sometimes there's explanations of injuries, and then there's the way the organization's explaining, like, no timetable. It's almost like just when he comes back, he comes back. We're not even focused on this guy at this point right now, and maybe rightfully so, where you do have to understand what's at stake. If you're a coach in Shane Steichen, which I think is a pretty good coach, I can't just get my signal caller. Like, I'm left with Daniel Jones. I'm left with a rookie and Riley Leonard. Or if I'm going to go with Anthony Richardson, who can't stay healthy for more than a game and a half, and when he is healthy, he runs around too much and causes so much exhaustion as to come off the field. So he's getting a raw deal. But it's a shame, too. Like, it's a good offensive line. It's Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. You get one of the most sensational tight ends over the past decade and a half in college football is now your tight end now. You still have Michael Pittman Jr. at wide receiver and a couple other pieces that fit really well. And now you sit back and say, I just need a quarterback that can throw the football. And your answer is going to be Daniel Jones, who can't throw the football. It just doesn't make sense in Indy right now, where the optimism has to be at an all-time low. But having said that, I do agree with some of those odds that FanDuel Canada is putting out right now by saying, you know what? It's not going to be Anthony Richardson. And if you would have asked me 3 weeks ago before we were talking about shoulder injury, I would have said Anthony Richardson at -1,000 will be your starter, because he has to be. You have to see what he has. And if he just can't be the quarterback over the first 3 weeks of the season, then at least you know. But it looks like now, Ben, they're not even going to try it, because you can't even get him on the field in the off season to take those reps.
Yeah.
Come on now. It's a disaster.
It's really good context, DRS, in the entirety of the AR conversation. This is not a guy that in his first 2 years has even been out there all that much. 15 total games in his first 2 NFL campaigns, only 4 before he had shoulder surgery that ended his rookie campaign in 2023. Only 11 last year in 2024. Some of that was injuries, taking big hits. Other was some of his performance that was incredibly subpar, leading to Joe Flacco starting some games last year in Indianapolis. DRS first 2 years under Shane Steichen, 9-8 in 2023, 8-9 last year, flirting with 500, but really not much to show for it. I'm sure Shane Steichen, the offensive whiz he proved to be in Philadelphia, was excited at bare minimum at the prospect of crafting Anthony Richardson, a developmental piece coming from his time with only 1 full year as a starter collegiately at Florida. And there were issues with Richardson during his college days, DRS, in terms of efficiency, accuracy, and completion percentage. And that is always the scare. And that has been realized here in the NFL. Again, Anthony Richardson is not some proven commodity that is dealing with health issues. So whenever he returns, even if that timetable is uncertain, he's the guy 100% face of the franchise. He had so much to prove this year after a completion percentage of 47.7% in 2024. Worst among qualified quarterbacks in the NFL. He played in 11 games. Donnie, he was the only NFL quarterback a season ago to play double-digit games and have a completion percentage worse than 60%. And his was worse than 48% at 47.7. The 4th overall pick in 2023, it seems as though his time in Indianapolis and maybe his NFL career to begin has hit a very, very big road bump.
Yeah, he was overdrafted. He's an unbelievable talent. He's never going to be anybody's franchise quarterback, but that doesn't mean he can't be a good NFL player. You put him in one of those positions in short yardage situations as a quarterback and a number 2 on your roster, he can help your football team. He can't lead your football team, but he can help here. So the Colts probably will just throw him away, and rightfully so, the expectations are bad. But the next team that gets him, you can use him in certain third down and short areas, inside the red zone, inside the 5-yard line. This kid is a weapon. He just can't be your every down quarterback.
So DRS, 7.5 is the win total in Indy this offseason. Even juice on both sides. -110 over, -110 under. Year number 3 under Shane Steichen. And more than likely, Daniel Jones going to start week number 1 for Indianapolis. What's your outlook on the Colts?
Yeah, again, it's kind of funny, like, 7.5 now that Daniel Jones is starting. Daniel Jones might be the better starter overall than Anthony Richardson, which means that you might be getting the better quarterback now, which is crazy to say with Daniel Jones. He will probably give you competency because he's with a good offensive coordinator. He does have some weapons. But if you're looking to get to the next level where Daniel Jones is throwing over 2 touchdown passes a game, that's not happening here. And it's tough because, as I said, I like the offensive structure from the game plan and also from the players that they have. They just don't have the quarterback here. And sometimes a coach just gets a bad deal. Like, hey, if I had a good quarterback, look what I can do like I did back in Philadelphia. I have bad quarterbacks all along here in Indy. I can't do much.
Yeah, it really is a fascinating situation, DRS, because you almost give Shane Steichen the benefit of the doubt because as long as he has been in Indy, Anthony Richardson has been that perceived guy, and yet whether it's health or a lack thereof or a lack of development, he's kind of been hindered. Cleveland in the quarterback battle next.
Hey sports fans, here's a tip to keep in mind the next time you make your betting picks. According to research, home field advantage is no joke, especially in those playoffs. In the NBA and the NFL postseason, the home team typically has a 64% shot at victory. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
I got a feeling Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl. I got a feeling there is no chance they're going to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. I'm just kidding.
They're still not expected to have over 8.5 wins. They're still not expected to have a winning record. Now, I know things could change for the next 24 hours. I get that. But everyone expected Aaron Rodgers to sign with him. He's going to sign with him.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent the message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face, and after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday Night Monday. Oh, Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
A very, very, very crowded quarterback room in Cleveland as we update the odds for the QB battle for the Browns this offseason, courtesy of our Canadian friends at the FanDuel Sportsbook. DRS, some interesting movement, and I look forward to your reaction on it. Joe Flacco has been the favorite, the veteran, the 40-year-old for Cleveland, who, of course, started the tail end of the season in 2023, leading the Browns to 11 wins. in a playoff spot 2 seasons ago. He is back under the command of Kevin Stefanski, and he is the short favorite. But it was plus 116 yesterday. It's minus 102 on this Wednesday morning as minicamp now underway in the land. Kenny Pickett, who was acquired this offseason via trade, second best number at 2-1, and rather hefty prices on both Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel. Sanders has actually moved back. He was plus 310 yesterday afternoon. Gabriel was plus 1060, both the rooks at a plus 680 price. That is what the odds say, DRS, about the Browns QB battle. What do you say? Who should be the starter for Cleveland come week number 1?
I love this too, because first day of OTAs, everybody's paying attention to the depth chart and everybody's paying attention to which snaps these guys are taking here. So the fact that Shedeur Sanders doesn't get a lot of snaps, he's not playing here. Look, that's day number 1. There are no pads. Things are going to figure themselves out over the next month and a half until we get up to game number 1. We understand that. But if I look at the odds here, for me, just understanding what's the most healthy point for your franchise. It's not starting an aging quarterback day number 1 on the roster. Now, you might say, let's just say Kenny Pickett wasn't on the roster. We're going to bring in Joe Flacco. We're going to draft a couple quarterbacks who are young. If we feel they're not ready to play, we don't want to hurt their career by putting them out there too soon, because then it might damage some goods, which means it might be leading them into some bad tendencies they might not have when they're actually ready to take the helm as a starting quarterback. But the fact that you went out and got Kenny Pickett, we're not saying Kenny Pickett is a great quarterback, but Kenny Pickett was a high draft pick. Kenny Pickett is much younger. Kenny Pickett has been in big situations like with the Philadelphia Eagles playing a couple games there and just being in that organization, and then with the Pittsburgh Steelers trying to make the playoffs. He does have a pedigree of playing games in the NFL. And then you have Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel. So Joe Flacco being the favorite at minus 102, it's like me saying, like, what are we doing in Cleveland? Like, your offensive line is average at best. We know Flacco can't move at all. David Njoku's a good tight end. You draft Fannin Jr. Jerry Jeudy's starting to come into his own as a younger wide receiver into his prime. We know you got Deontay Johnson, but also Quinshon Judkins in the backfield. Isn't this the perfect time to let a younger quarterback sort of mesh with these guys and grow with these players here, as opposed to having Joe Flacco, who you know isn't your franchise guy? I just want to say, like, look, I understand. If Kenny Pickett can't play, why did you get him there? But also, if the 2 young quarterbacks aren't ready, yes, you're going to start Joe Flacco, but he can't be the favorite. He should be your emergency option. Like, Joe Flacco should get the least amount of snaps in OTAs and training camp because you know what he can do. Let the other kids eat to see what they can do. Flacco starts game number 1. That's just a travesty by the Browns.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why you would do that either. You are looking for an answer in the quarterback room. You clearly did not believe in Shedeur or Dillon enough to draft them early, but Dillon Gabriel was even drafted in the tail end of round number 3 before Shedeur Sanders was taken in round number 5. I do not believe either of the 2 rookies, despite the notoriety around them, will start week number 1 for Cleveland. Like you, DRS, I think it should be Kenny Pickett, but I kind of agree with the odds. All indications is it's going to be Joe Flacco. Of course, ESPN Cleveland, the radio affiliate in the land, has made some news throughout this offseason already, tracking the quarterback stats, completion percentage, touchdowns, and INTs throughout voluntary OTAs, and now after day number 1 of Browns minicamp. Joe Flacco did not throw yesterday in the team 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 drills. Hey, he's 40 years old, right? He's already racked it up enough. Shedeur Sanders, 10 of 12, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Kenny Pickett, 6 of 10, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Dillon Gabriel, 7 of 18, a touchdown, and no picks. It will be very funny to watch the QB tracker provided by the stats of ESPN Cleveland and see if it has any impact whatsoever on those quarterback battle odds.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll find out. And again, they're just reactive to day 1 or day 2 of the OTAs based on who's getting those reps first. Because if Gabriel's getting reps before Sanders, then of course he's going to be moved up, because the perception in Cleveland then would be is he's a better quarterback. But everybody knows nothing happens until the pads get on there, and you'll see some of these guys separate from themselves here once that time takes place. So I'm not reading into any quarterback competitions with the young quarterbacks this early in OTAs.
Nor should you. The Browns' win total is 5.5. The under is juiced at minus 160. It's the worst in the National Football League. More on the early line next.
It'll be interesting to see what the Knicks do. But the Knicks are at a point now where they don't have to blow it up. They may still do so, and they have a right to do so, but with trading the 4 first-round picks and the pick swap for Mikal Bridges, the Knicks don't have a lot of room in regards to actual picks to throw at people.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
Plenty of takeaways from Yankees-Dodgers where LA sent a message on Saturday, and the only way the Yankees could salvage it was somehow beating Yamamoto, and they did.
You're staring a sweep in the face. And after losing the World Series, knowing what the opponent is, you know what the narrative would have been on Sunday Night Monday. Oh, Yankees get swept by the Dodgers.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
We continue discussing the quarterback battles around the National Football League and teams to know throughout this offseason. Of course, DRS, the story in the Big Easy under rookie head coach Kellen Moore was kind of thrown into a circus after Derek Carr announced his retirement about a month and a half ago. So we thought Derek Carr was going to be the starter in 2025, maybe to at least begin, but now he is no longer playing football. The Saints quarterback room a little bit thin, and after being drafted early in round number 2 with the 40th overall pick, the rookie veteran, if you will, who turns 26 in September, Tyler Shuck, now the hefty favorite to be that starting quarterback for the Saints come week number 1. Minus 310, the price on Shuck to be that starting quarterback in New Orleans. DRS, do you take any issue with the price being that strong on Tyler Shuck to be the starting quarterback for the Saints?
No, because you don't have anybody backing him up. Like Spencer Rattler, sure, has some talent here, has played some NFL football, but he's not a franchise NFL guy. He's not going to battle for that starting spot, at least right off of the bat. The same thing with Jake Haener, which we've seen him perform as well. Not all that good. Now, it's not an old quarterback room as opposed to, if you want to say, is the oldest quarterback, by the way, Tyler Shuck in that room? Is Haener younger than Shook, which would be kind of amazed? Like, hey, the rookie is the oldest guy in the room? It doesn't even make sense, but that could be the way it plays out. But he should be the starter. You're trying to get a new regime down there, right? New head coach that's going to put in his guy that he drafted. Of course, he is going to be the starting quarterback week number 1. That's the way it should be. I don't have high expectations for the New Orleans Saints, but if you're going to have lower expectations, you might as well get some reps there out of your young/old rookie quarterback at this point for me.
Yeah, DRS, no. Tyler Shuck is not the oldest, but he is the second oldest. Jake Haener is already 26. His birthday was in early March. Tyler Shuck's birthday coming in late September at the age of 26 years old. Spencer Rattler is 24. I take no issue with the minus 310 price on Tyler Shuck. Frankly, even if Derek Carr was there, but dealing with the shoulder issue throughout the offseason, I might make an argument that Shuck should be the starter under Kellen Moore in the rookie head man. Now, here's the interesting question for me, DRS. 5 teams around the NFL have a win total of 5.5, based on number, all sharing the smallest win total or the worst win total around the National Football League this year. But again, based on the juice, where the chalk and the vig is, That's how things change. Two teams have hefty juice on the under, minus 160 for the Browns, around minus 145, minus 150 for the New York Giants. Cleveland technically has the worst win total in the National Football League, expected to be the worst team in the NFL, have the worst record, so on and so forth. Two teams have the juice on the over, the Titans with Cam Ward, the New York Jets now with Justin Fields. The Saints win total is 5.5, even juice on both sides, minus 110 over, minus 110 under. Let's say, DRS, that New Orleans is one of the worst teams in the National Football League. Let's say that the Saints are drafting in the top 3. You've got a lot of players early on in the projected 2026 NFL draft class that would make a ton of narrative sense in New Orleans. The two best prices to go first overall, Arch Manning, of course, the Manning name, the name Arch or Archie in New Orleans means a lot. Manning himself from the city of New Orleans, played his high school football in New Orleans. The second best price, Garrett Nussmeier, the quarterback currently at LSU. Garrett's father, Doug, now the new offensive coordinator in the Big Easy under Kellen Moore as well.
Yeah, and look, that's options that you're going to have on the table. Do you remember Josh Rosen got drafted high by Arizona? They slipped into that number 1 spot. They took their quarterback that they figure is better. You can't have a good franchise unless you have your quarterback. And the shame of it is you got to win right away or at least show the team something. Like if Tyler Shook plays well this year and they win 4 games, they'll probably say, you know what? We got a high draft pick. We don't need our quarterback. We think we have our quarterback of the future. We're not going to use any extra draft capital for, let's just say, in the 2, 3, or 4 spot where Arch Manning would go number 1. You'll stick with it here. But if you have an underwhelming rookie season at Shook, which means you won 2 to 3 games, then you're going to be drafting number 1 overall, and you're going to take that quarterback. And it's not a bad thing that, oh, it was a wasted draft pick. No, it isn't. You have to try as many quarterbacks as you can that you feel have a pedigree. And obviously they think down there with Kellen Moore that the pedigree is coming from Tyler Shook at this point, and rightfully so. We'll see how he performs, but this is a quick hook league, man. If you're really bad your rookie season and there's dominating quarterbacks that you feel can help your franchise and you have the ability to take them, you're going to take them here. So this isn't like, hey, we're going to give him 3 years to see if he's the quarterback of the future. No, you're not. You're giving him 1 year. If he shows something, he's your quarterback. If he doesn't, you could move on.
I think that's well said, DRS. A second-round pick is not insignificant by NFL draft cycles in terms of capital and investment, but it wasn't like Tyler Shook was a top 5 or top 10 pick. I know it might sound negligible, but that really is part of the conversation. How about the New York Giants? Russell Wilson is a minus 1,600 favorite to be that week 1 starter. Jameis Winston, of course, also signed this offseason, and the Giants traded back in to round number 1 to take Jackson Dart at 25th overall, a 12-1 price on the Rook to be that week 1 starter. Now, week 1 starting quarterback DRS, Russell Wilson a hefty favorite. Is Russ going to start right away for the G-Men?
Russ is going to start right away for the G-Men. That's the plan. That's the way it should be. The Giants aren't a good franchise right now, and you don't want to ruin the process of having your quarterback sit, watch a little bit of football, then get entered into the situation. Because whether he starts game 1 or game 15, I don't think the Giants are going to make the playoffs this year. And as we said multiple times, they opened up at some books here at 3.5 as a team total. That lets you know exactly what some of the pundits think. Now, they do have more talent this year than they do last year. A couple decent free agent signings here, a couple good moves there in the draft, and Russell Wilson, you hope, can hold down the fort. Here's the question for me. When is the time that you pull the plug on Russell Wilson? Because understand this, if the Giants aren't going to make the playoffs, I don't think they will. The point of having Russell Wilson play on a 7-win Giants team late in the season, that doesn't make any sense. Like, Jackson Dart has to get in there, which makes me a little bit nervous. Like, I want a couple wins early in the season, which, look at that schedule. I don't know how early those wins are coming for the Giants, because if you have, let's just forget about the end of the season, the 6-win Giants, right? That would cash a ticket for most people out there, even with the updated numbers at 5.5. But what is the point of even have Russell Wilson if you're 1-6 to start the season? Because you like him and he's a team leader, and you're saying, like, well, I'm going to get fired as Brian Dable. General manager Joe Shane, he's going to get fired as well. So you might as well see at least what you have on the kid, and then you can sell that bozo owner on, hey, man, we only won 2 games. But you see what Jackson Dart did in week 17 here in a game that meant nothing? They could probably sell him on that. That's the interesting point. Week number 1, it will be Russ. But it's week 8, Russell Wilson. For my ticket, I actually hope it is. But for the goodness of the Giants and what they're looking to do in the future, he better not be your quarterback in week 8 if you're 1-7.
So those are the week 1 starting quarterback odds.
Yeah.
What have I asked
Should
Donnie
be that
right
way.
side to post the favorite for the week 18 starting quarterback odds of the New York Giants? Who has the shortest price?
It's got to be Dart, right? I mean, what are we doing? I'm telling you right now, please let this scenario play out where Mara has no idea what he's doing, and the Giants win week 18, which causes them to fall from the number 2 draft pick or number 1 down to 6 or 7. And Mara's like, I like what we got going on here in the offseason going forward. Like this, from upper management to general manager, they are a rudderless ship right now, which probably will win games once again. We wouldn't be having these conversations with Jackson Dart had they not beaten the Indianapolis Colts, and they have a brighter future now. But they won and Mr. Mara, we beat the Colts. It's like, yay, team. You're coming back next year. Love it, man. Giants are such a mess.
So that is the incredibly interesting context to this entire conversation of who starts week 1, week 7, week 13, week 18. Brian Daboll and Joe Shane are quite literally coaching and executing for their jobs this upcoming year in 2026. Are they going to try to win as many games to try to provide promise to the Mara family to return, or might they turn the keys over to Jackson Dart come week number 9 to have a couple of glimmers of hope and maybe an upset win or 2 down the stretch to say, hey, we've got our quarterback of the future. We didn't draft Daniel Jones. We weren't the guys here when that decision was made. It's going to be a fascinating year for the G-Men, who have the hardest schedule in the National Football League in 2025. JY, what's next?
Guess what, golfers? Vegas isn't just casinos and pool parties. In fact, there are 50 golf courses within a 15-mile radius of the Strip, all boasting beautiful desert oasis landscapes. So, if you're looking for a break from the action, consider hitting the links. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
No one is going to pick Indiana. No one's going to pick Indiana to make it close, honestly. Like, you could get tremendous odds if you pick OKC in 7.
I think that taking the series over 5.5 games, the last 2 NBA Finals series ended in 5. I think this one goes 6. I think the Thunder will get the job done, but I think the Pacers are just too strong of a team and too talented of a team and too deep of a team to lose in 5 or fewer games.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
We hope to have the coach, JY James Young, here to end out this second hour for his scouting report ahead of Game 3 of the 2025 NBA Finals tonight in Indianapolis, and also get his thoughts on the Knicks coaching search, which has this additional wrinkle, DRS, in the last 10-15 minutes. Shams Charania reporting the New York Knicks did, in fact, request permission on this Wednesday morning to speak to Mavs head coach Jason Kidd, and Dallas gave a firm rejection. Of course, we shared earlier in our opening hour. The Knicks also reached out to Minnesota about Chris Finch and Houston about Ime Udoka and got a firm rejection in both of those spots as well.
Yeah.
But in our discussions yesterday, DRS, with CP the franchise, he kind of made it seem that the sense around this Knicks organization, at least the New York fan base, was kind of fully in on Jason Kidd as that front runner and then deal with everybody else if Kidd was not a reality. It seems here that Jason Kidd is no longer a reality to be that next Knicks head coach.
It doesn't. And understand this, too. Like, Thibodeau was a good coach for the Knicks. This is a team that didn't have a lot of success, let's just say, for 25 years. Back-to-back 50-win seasons. I don't know if the players, out front weren't saying, like, hey, man, it'd be awesome if Tibbs got fired. Jalen Brunson wasn't saying that. Maybe he had a little bit of issue with Karl Anthony Towns and playing some defense, and he wasn't doing that. But make no mistake about this. Like, if you are the Knicks ownership group, you fire Tom Thibodeau. Why, Ben? Because you have your coach already in hand, basically saying to yourself, I just got to pick up the phone in 24 hours and make this happen. So the fact that you fired Thibodeau, like, all right, let's talk to the best coach in the NBA. Yeah, you can't talk to them. Jay Wright, man, Nova Knicks, baby. You don't want it either. I wonder where we're going to go now. Tibbs, do you want to come back? Like, are we at that point right now? Like, what's going on with the Knicks?
And DRS, that is such a good point, right? Because it's not just you fire Tom Thibodeau after 5 years of mediocre basketball, a playoff run or two, but winning maybe one playoff series. You reached a stage in the Eastern Conference Finals you had not been in 2.5 decades. So the next guy you bring in better be the guy to elevate that ceiling, and there's only one more spot to go. That's the NBA Finals for the first time since 1999. So as we welcome in our coach, J.Y. James Young, J.Y., that is the conversation. Houston says no for Ime Udoka. Minnesota says absolutely not for Chris Finch. And the Dallas Mavericks say zero chance whatsoever. You are even speaking to Jason Kidd. Where do the Knicks go from here?
Well, I'm sorry because I was just on the phone with Leon Rose, campaigning for the Knicks job since no one else wants the job right now. But listen, for the first time in 25 years, the Knicks look like they're a well-run unit, a well-run organization. And now this comes back to remind everyone of who the New York Knicks are, being run by James Dolan. When you make this move, Ben, and you are literally 2 wins away from the NBA Finals, and you fire a coach that brought stability and winning back to the organization, who also had ties to the 90s with Van Gundy, and you show him the door, you should have a plan in place when you did. And that's what everyone thought. But now it looks like their plan is coming up snake eyes because everyone they reach out to that's under contract doesn't want the job. They thought people said Jay Wright, he don't want the job, So now New York is at a standstill where the draft is in 2 weeks away. We don't know who the coach is. We don't know who the candidate is. If it was Johnny Bryant, they would have hired him already. Dan Hurley said no. Rick Pitino, no one asked him, but he said no anyway. So no one seems to want the Knicks job, or teams don't want to allow the Knicks to even interview for the job.
Yeah, it's a tough scene, too, because let me ask you this question, too. Like, if you think, like, the Knicks should have had an opportunity already having a head coach in mind that they back-channeled that said yes, let's just say they reach out to Kidd and Dallas says no. Like, Ben brought up a pretty good scenario. Like, what would happen if you just said to yourself, well, I want to coach the Knicks, I don't want to coach the Mavericks anymore? Did the Mavericks then still want Jason Kidd as their coach? Or were they like, all right, first-round pick in 2035, you can have Jason Kidd. Is there a chance that you could still get a coach that's currently a head coach in the NBA to come to the Knicks because that coach just wants to coach the Knicks and not the team he's currently with?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to remember the last coach to get traded was Jason Kidd. We went from Brooklyn to Milwaukee for 2 second-round picks. So it's not like it has not been done before, and it's going to take Jason Kidd to walk into Dallas and say, I don't want to coach here anymore. And honestly, he would have to do it publicly because then the leverage comes away from Dallas and now shifts to the Knicks have all the leverage because there is an out. So I think that's the thing to look out for is Jason Kidd's been very quiet. Like there's all these back channels and sources. Until Jason Kidd comes out and says, I want the Knicks job, then Dallas has all the leverage to say, no, we're not going to allow you to interview with him.
You know what's so interesting is we have seen players demand trades. Could a coach demand the same and basically hold Dallas over the fire? I am already sure there has been back channel communication and some tampering afoot between Kidd and the New York Knicks and maybe some others. Final question, JY, on the New York Knicks. You'll be here with us in our following segment to give your scouting report for game number 3 of the 2025 NBA Finals on the other side of the break as well. Let's say it's Jason Kidd. Let's say it's Chris Finch. More than likely not. Let's say it's even Johnny Bryant. Will that next coach be the head coach to get the New York Knicks to the 2026 NBA Finals?
They better be. I mean, if you're doing this to Tibbs, you better get this right. Because if you don't go, it's NBA Finals or bust. And there's one thing to realize that I keep forgetting about the whole thing with Dallas. There is the whole thing of Jalen Brunson going to the Knicks and it being lined up. So there is a little bit of bad blood between Dallas and New York that easily Dallas could be like, no, we don't want to play this game with you again. So there could be back channel communications, but it's got to be something both sides. But the Knicks have to get this right. You've not been this close since the 90s. You mess this up, legacies are on the line. And I'm talking about Leon Rose, Worldwide West, and then to lesser extent, James Dolan, who still all of a sudden is now loved in New York, but has been hated by Knicks fans for nearly 2 decades.
And it's not like, oh, you got so close, you got to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years, but that's probably it. There's a good chance the New York Knicks in a changing Eastern Conference could be the favorites to win the East entering next season. Game 3 tonight in Indy. Next.
It'll be interesting to see what the Knicks do, but the Knicks are at a point now where they don't have to blow it up. They may still do so, and they have a right to do so, but with trading the 4 first-round picks and the pick swap for Mikal Bridges, the Knicks don't have a lot of room in regards to actual picks to throw at people.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
No one is going to pick Indiana. No one's going to pick Indiana to make it close, honestly. Like, you can't really, you could get tremendous odds if you pick OKC in 7.
I think that taking the series over 5.5 games, the last 2 NBA Finals series ended in 5. I think this one goes 6. I think the Thunder will get the job done, but I think the Pacers are just too strong of a team and too talented of a team and too deep of a team to lose in 5 or fewer games.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The Knicks really got past that playoff dragon for them that really stood in their way. So for the New York Knicks to be the Celtics and then an outright favorite to win the Eastern Conference Finals, that's where the disappointment is.
The goalposts got moved, right? Because when you went into the Celtics series, a lot of Knicks fans said they weren't going to beat it. This, I'll say this is more unprecedented than the 99 run when they were the 8th seed.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Face. It's the new face. New face of what? The hell are you talking about? Like seriously. Oh, the new face of the NBA, Anthony. Yeah, okay. You know what I mean? Look, really? Guy's got 2 shots. You're the face of the NBA. Slow down. He's a good player. I've always thought the whole face of the NBA thing was comical. You want him to be the face of the NBA because you don't like it that all the other faces of the NBA aren't American.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Tonight, the 2025 NBA Finals returns to our lives. It is game number 3 on this Wednesday evening in Indianapolis. a change of location for the first time in this championship set. JY is here with us for a second consecutive segment. No time to spare, JY. Let's start to break it all down. The Thunder remain a favorite. 5 points on the road tonight in downtown Indy. Total is 228.5. This series is tied at a game apiece. JY, what do you anticipate being the biggest adjustment for both sides entering game 3 tonight?
Well, to me, it's going to be more about Indiana, what they do with Tyrese Halliburton. Do you see Nembhard bring the ball up the floor and get Tyrese Halliburton off the ball so that people like Lou Dort, SGA, Jalen Williams, Alex Caruso, so on and so forth, load up? That's something that I saw in the fourth quarter, I should say, of game number 2, where it kind of unlocked Tyrese a little bit. Also, whether they pick up full court pressure or not. So I'm looking right at Tyrese Halliburton in the first quarter to go over 4.5 points. And I do look at Indiana to try and jump them and try and play with the lead and try to lean on this home crowd in Indiana, which should be wild and raucous after making the finals for the first time in a quarter century. So look for Halliburton to get off to a fast start, over 4.5 points. Indiana Pacers take the lead at the end of the first, and then it's where the fun begins, adjusting as the game is live.
If we look at that total, Coach, 228.5. Again, we like this. I'd much rather see a 228.5 than a 198.5 because it's much more fun to bet some props and free-flowing offense, which, as you talked about, it's up to the Indiana Pacers to unlock their offense against that good defense for OKC. How are we feeling about that 228.5 number at the FanDuel Sportsbook tonight?
Well, it was a slow start. We got up and over it in game number 2. It was I think 28-20. And I think, like I said, I think Indiana's going to come out a little more aggressive. And they did try to push the pace early in the game. They just missed a ton of 3-point shots, particularly in the first half. I think the game goes up and over again because I think Indiana's going to try and get up and down a little bit and lean on their offense, is particularly in the first quarter. So I do like over 228.5. I think there's going to be points on the board. And it should be an exciting and I think a very close game. So if I also think close games, you know how I am. Last minute and a half, fouls, stop clock, extra possessions, timeout, advance the ball. I expect this to be a tight game. So I think we go over with the points.
The Thunder have not covered yet on the road throughout this playoff run, despite being at least a 3-point favorite in every single game, all 18 throughout the NBA postseason. JY, you think one of the biggest key adjustments Indiana needs to make tonight is Tyrese Halliburton, how they structure and orchestrate that offense. Does Hallie have to go over his points prop of 17.5 for the Pacers to even keep this game close tonight in game number 3?
Yeah, I think he's going to have to score a little bit. And usually when he has a really bad stinker, and usually they're single-digit stinkers, he will come out the next game pretty well. So I think he's got to be better. But also Pascal Siakam's got to be better too, Ben. He only had 3 points, I do believe, through the first quarter. It was an early 3-pointer that he made. He must be much better. You got Jalen Williams up there, and I want to give people something to think about. If you look closely at the way Mark Daigneault structures his substitution patterns, SGA plays the first 12 minutes of the game. He plays the entire first quarter. They tend to take J-Dub out with about 4 to 5 minutes left in the first quarter. Then he starts the second quarter, and then you see about 5 to 6 minutes of no SGA. Let the game start. Let it get to the second quarter. If Jalen Williams is off to a slow start, look at Jalen Williams over his points in the second quarter. He will be without SGA. He will be the primary scorer. And look for Jalen Williams, especially in the slow start, get going in game number 2 and at the end of the first quarter. I think he got like 7 points in about 5 or 6 minutes before SGA checked back in the game. Look at Jalen Williams, second quarter points over tonight.
Take a look at some guys even farther down that list, Coach. You look at Lou Dort in that last game, 1 for 3 from the floor. Didn't shoot all that much, drained 1 3-point shot. Game number 1 was much more influential there from 3-point range. But also, Coach, how about Obi Toppin? 9.5 points. Great game number 1, low in game number 2. Coming back home here, I always like to look at those guys outside of the top boxes there. How about Obi Toppin? Can he get double digits tonight?
Possibility, but I think I'm looking more at Lou Dort. Lou Dort took 3 shots in his first rotation in the first 8.5 minutes, got into foul trouble. I don't think he took a shot the rest of the game.
He did.
So if we keep Lou Dort out of foul trouble, and I like Lou Dort that made some most threes in the series. I think a Lou Dort bounce back game will be here. Lou Dort will be able to go over his 3-point prop.
The key for the balance for OKC in game 2, Alex Caruso and Aaron Wiggins both off the bench, combining for 9 made threes. 9 of the 14 that OKC made as a team in game number 2. JY, wasn't long enough, man, but we appreciate the time here on this Wednesday. Great breakdown of it all. A fade away to the break. And hour number 3 on the other side of that break next.